get started, I want to, Eric, before I bring you on, I do want to ask you some things, but there is, I do also want to let you guys know that one of the things that I taught in Fort Lauderdale on Thursday is we talked about a 4-step process to generating as much money as you want to generate. Okay, so it's a 4-step process. Okay, so and I'm not going to go through the whole training, but I do want you to write this down. Okay, number one part of the 4-step process is all about you. Okay, it's all about you. There ain't nothing. Don't even worry about anything else if you don't have you right and your first circle right. So number one is you. And on Thursday, we talked about the 4 things you have to do in order to succeed at Equus Financial. We talked about how you have to listen, work, produce, and associate. You got to do those 4 things if you're going to make money at Equus Financial. We also talked about the 5 steps of becoming a leader. We talked about listening, working, getting results, staying plugged in, and handling the negative. But we also talked about how it's your responsibility to go out there and make your personal production sing. Make it sing. God, I can't. It's like right now is like we can't mess around right now. Like no feel good messages. Oh, well, I mean, I'm not saying it's got a feel bad message, but I'm just saying like right now, if you guys aren't aware of what's going on with Equus Financial, again, 451 writers 2 weeks ago, 438 writers. So we busted through that 400 writer mark. Guys, do y'all know what happens at 550 writers? Do you know what happens to the equity bonus at 550, of which some of you guys are so close, so close. So we can't mess around. So number one, get you right. And if you're not right, get it. Like, just get it. Number 2 is going sales manager. To qualify sales manager, I taught on Thursday where you needed to go out there and develop the ability to hire people and go 9 wide. I feel like if you go 9 wide, you're going to identify 3 to 4 out of the 9. If you're horrible at it and you hire below quality people, you're at least going to get 2 to 3 out of it. But hire between 6 to 9 people direct to you, and that'll be a foundation of creating sales managers. Okay. The third step, the third step is combining. Okay, combining width, because you got to go a little bit more wide. Okay, you got to keep putting in your batches of width, whether you're doing cold market, whether you're hiring people to kitchen table or mortgage protection sales, whether you're hiring people doing warm market, I don't care. Okay, but if you're going to go regional manager, which is step 3, number 1 is you, number 2 is sales manager, number 3 is regional manager. So if you're going to go regional manager and you're going to qualify it at a minimum of 10 qualified writing agents, I believe that you not only have to go wide, but you have to start building a little bit of depth. Now, I don't think regional manager requires you to build a ton of depth, but it does require that you lock in some legs, a couple of legs, and at least get 4 deep in a couple of different legs, okay? But so number 3, sales manager, you added a batch of 6 to 9, right? Okay. And so to go regional manager, maybe you've added in another batch of 6 to 9, but you've built depth in a few legs where you've gotten those legs somewhere around 3 to 4 deep. Okay. So hopefully you can see out of that structure how to produce a 10 writing agents on a monthly basis. Okay. 10 writing agents on a monthly basis. And I also have to, now that we're at 10 writing agents on a monthly basis, I do have to remind myself to say the 50,000 in issue paid production. Okay. When the qualification was at 15 writing agents, we never had to worry about the 15,000 production because people just blew through the 15,000 or the 50,000 in production. Okay, I kept saying 15. It's 50,000. It's regional managers, 10 qualified writers with 50,000 in production. Okay, it used to be 15,000 at 50,000. It used to be 15 writers at 15,000. So guys, I'm trying to get through this to get to Eric. Okay, but this is the foundation that I want to talk about tonight. Okay, so this is important. So number one is you. Number two is your width. You got to be wide if you want to be a leader, guys. You got to be wide. All leaders have width. All leaders are adding people to them on a daily or at least a weekly basis. Number three, add in a little bit more width, a little bit of depth, and you'll get regional manager out of that. Now, number four is at least first tier equity bonus. Okay. It's at least first tier equity bonus, number four. What I mean by number four? Well, you've already now seen that the proper structure of width and depth produces what? Well, it produces 3 unique writers. Now it produces 10 unique writers. And so I get it now, John. So if I keep helping people help people develop the proper structure, we can get them to sales manager and to regional manager just like I did. That's right. And when they get to regional manager and you're doing 175,000 in production on a monthly basis, you qualify for your first tier equity bonus. First tier equity bonus at 550 writing agents is paying $15,000 every 30 days. That 15,000 is on top of your equity bonus junior, which is your regional manager bonus. Okay, with your regional manager bonus, if you've got the proper structure, guys, it should be a minimum of $1,500 a month. So focus on proper structure. Okay. Okay. So number one was what? Number one was making sure you're right. Number two, a little bit of width, your first batch of width. You're going to identify 2 to 3 at least qualified writers. Your sales manager, boom. Number three, we want to go regional manager. We're going to add in another batch of width, a little bit of depth, boom, your regional manager. And then number four, man, we got momentum. We're growing this thing. And I'm going to teach people how to go sales manager and regional manager the same way I did. And out of proper structure regional manager, I know I'm going to at least get 1 qualified regional manager out of it, if not 2, at least 1. And 1's all you need for first tier equity bonus. So guys, I'm so excited about that. I can't stand it. What's going on right now at Equus Financial is crazy. We had Eric Valdez. We had him on the Friday call. Eric Valdez, I thought you did a fantastic job. And so Eric, I wanted to kind of set the tone a little bit tonight because I don't want you to hold anything back. Like, I want you to take the gloves off. I want you to be as frank as you need to be talking to us. But there's a couple things that I want to hit on tonight, Eric, and that's number one, I want to hit on sheer growth. And I know that you grow predominantly cold market, which I've yielded to a bunch in the last, well, I've yielded to it a bunch in the last year, but I've yielded to it probably more in the last 3 months because I think what I'm tired of is I'm tired of trying to get people to do warm market building. I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, pour water on me. I'm sick of it. Like, okay, so if you want to do ZipRecruiter or whatever, like, okay, and so what I've been committed at doing, Eric, and what we've done on this Zoom meeting on Monday nights is we've really tried to explore what people are doing to get results. And so number one, I want you to talk about that aspect of your business because I respect that aspect of your business tremendously. And number two, Eric, and this is probably the biggest thing. Once we hire these people, how do we get them started? What do we do with them? You know, and we hear Barry talk about, you know, training's a myth, and we understand the context of what he means. But what we'd really like to understand is how do we get people started? Do they get a stack of leads, and on Saturday morning, either they create the 250 haystacks, the 250 ticky marks on the dials on the telephone. Like, what do we do, Eric? So I'm going to turn it over to you, man. I'm going to be right here with you. But, dude, thanks so much for plugging in with us tonight.
Hey, man, absolutely. Can you hear me okay, guys?
Loud and clear.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I barely made it. We just got back. In fact, I was down in Orlando doing a sales training for Michael Wright, who just broke out his first month as a DM. And we had about 15 people. That was really nice. So, and I'm a little hoarse because yesterday we did go to Epcot. So I've been screaming a lot from the rides. Anyway, well, hey, thanks for having me on the call. You know, it's interesting as I kind of got some information from you, and I'm kind of glancing here at some notes and things. You're right. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, to go cold market, you gotta take the gloves off, because and I say that because with warm market, which is what the first 17 months I was in with Equus in the business, that is what I did. I never even ran a ZipRecruiter ad until November of 2017. So the first, basically, I guess almost 25, 30 people were all warm market. And I mean, I attacked not just the phone book, a phone book meaning at my address book, but I mean, in fact, I just recruited another young lady at my bank to tell her. So, you know, because she's, you know, trying to solve a problem. But I felt that I had a pretty good success rate in a couple of other venues. I've been interviewing for 29 years, and I don't say that to impress you, because it shouldn't. But I just talked to a lot of people in a couple of different venues, is all I'm trying to say. And really, we talked about simplify. Part of the problem with cold market is we want to do this quote interview, right? We're trying, you know, and in fact, do you mind if I kind of cover what I do? Maybe that'll help some people that are doing
Please.
it. Okay. So this is as simple as it gets, guys. If you want to bring down the wall of a cold market recruit, when that phone rings and they're like, okay, there's that 419 number calling, it's going to be Mr. Valdez, or it's going to be Kim, then they're like getting set up for the interview, right? They're waiting for the interview questions. And I need to get the wall down, no different than an appointment. So one of the things that I do, John, is I immediately eliminate the wall. Because if I'm going to really see as much as I can through a telephone the heart of the person, then I have to get them to remove that wall. And so when I get on the phone with a brand new person that answered an ad that's click on to Calendly, I just say, hey, Joe, you know, my name's Eric Valdez. Hey, thanks for taking the time to be on the call, you know, with me today at 2:30. Hey, let's cut to the chase here real quick. You're probably expecting a bunch of interview questions from me, the stale ones, you know, that basically aren't going to get us anywhere. And I'm probably going to get some canned answers from you as well that aren't going to get, you know, us anywhere on whether this might be a good fit for you. So why don't we just make a deal with each other? We're going to have a conversation. And that conversation is going to start out by you telling me a little bit about who you are, what you're looking for, and why you're looking for it. That's it.
Love it.
Who you are, what you're looking for, and why you're looking for it. Because haven't we been talking a lot about we're problem solvers? I mean, are we not problem solvers in the house as an agent? Are we not problem solvers helping, you know, people come on, like the young lady I just hired at the bank? We're going to solve her problem. She's going to stop cleaning office buildings on Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings, start spending some extra time with her husband, since she just found out she's pregnant. We're going to solve her. And by the way, she's making like $250 for like 11 hours worth of work. Now we're going to show her how to go out and make $500 in an hour. I'm going to solve her. Well, she's going to solve it. I'm going to show her how to solve it.
Right.
And then I'm hoping she gets all 13 other people that work at the bank and the other branches that she actually has to go to every once in a while. I'm thinking I'm going to get a whole new little, you know, sales managership out of this whole deal. So the point is, though, is that when you're talking to these people, and by the way, when they say, I'll say, I want to find out a little bit more about you, John, who you are, and kind of what you're looking for and why you're looking for it. And then I make this statement, and then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Eric Valdez and Equus Financial and who we are and what we're looking for. But he always starts first, because if you're the interviewer, if you're the problem solver, you have to know what problem he's trying to solve. And it's so easy, because I can take any agent and anybody that's ever run a ZipRecruiter ad and just tell them hey, I got this piece of paper, John, here's the guy's name, here's his problem, and here's why he answered the ad. Tell him how Equus can solve his problem. And you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. I interviewed a guy the other day, recently divorced father, gets his kids every other weekend, having to pay a little bit of alimony, some things, and he needs to make some extra money. So I said, well, tell you what, I said, hey, look, I've been through all that. Tell you what, let me ask you a question. You don't have to give me the exact number, but get me close. Give me the number you're thinking you have to make. And then I always like to find the pain, right? We find the pain in the house with the new income and the person passing away. I find the pain with Joe and his situation. And here's what it is. So, Joe, are you telling me you got to make an extra $2,000 a month to kind of cover everything, make sure you're being, you're being an honorable father and the kids? Yeah, absolutely. Great. So have you been looking around? Like, what kinds of stuff you've been looking at? And I'm hoping he says retail. Why? Because I'm going to kill retail. I'm going to say, so you were actually going to exchange about 20, 25 hours a week, maybe like 80 to 100 hours. Wow. Okay. So you're serious. Like, you have to do this. And then I'm going to, of course, John, I'm going to walk him down the road of, well, I mean, you're going to need all the time you can with your children. And I'm going to paint that picture of like, yeah, that's what I'm hoping I don't have to not tell them they can't come over this weekend, because I have to. And that's why I solved his problem. I CA'd him on the spot. I solved his problem with Equus Financial. So when he tells me a little bit about himself, I don't necessarily want to go through his resume. But if you are looking at resumes, just find 2 or 3 skill sets. If I can give you a little bit, just find skill sets. All about skill sets, gift to gab. They don't have to have this. I don't even want Joe salesperson. I don't want Joe closer. I want somebody who cares about people. I don't want to be the next best thing that he quits, 6 weeks down the road. But, find a couple of skill sets, build him up a little bit. Say, Joe, I was looking at your resume, and, I have to tell you, I really liked, and even if you've got no sales experience, if you find 2 or 3 things, what does that person say? Like, wow, this guy, like he really, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am pretty good. Build them up. I know I would want to be, it brings the wall down. It lets them know you care. And John, you know how I am about making sure that people know we care about them. And I think that's important. And you'll find that people will respond quicker. They'll break down and give you the real deal if you're able to do that. So kind of like what you just did on the phone, John, with somebody, and you can stop me and ask questions at any given time. So well, Joe, tell you what, we're not going to actually have what we call that corporate interview. I am not going to ask you a bunch of stale interview questions. We're going to make this real simple. Because first of all, I'll never get to know you, and you will never get to know me. So let's do this. Let's make a deal. I'm going to ask you a little bit about who you are, what you're looking for, and why you're looking for it. And then I promise that I'm going to reciprocate, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, Eric Valdez, and my family, and kind of who I am and what Equus is looking for here in whatever market I'm in. If it could be, Toledo, Ohio, it could be Minneapolis, whatever it is. And I will tell you, in the cold market, most people that answer an ad looking for a job know they have to earn it. So there is what I do, and I think it's important because, we know that what we know is that if most people will get a license and put in what you just talked about, if they're willing to listen, they're willing to work, if they're willing to produce and associate, like, they're going to be successful. And we've got people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, and we know they can. However, that's not the world they generally come from. They generally come from a world where they need to earn the job. So I think there's a little bit to be said for earning the job. So my goal during this 10-minute conversation, John, is to see if I see everything in them that I know they need to be successful. And it's not on paper. When they're talking to me and telling me about themselves, I'm listening sometimes. Of course, I don't have a Zoom, so a lot of it's just voice to voice. I'm kicking back in my chair with my eyes closed and going, could this guy book an appointment with me?
Right.
Could she do that? Does she speak clear enough, precise enough? And I don't mind molding and coaching a little bit, but could she book an appointment? And if the answer is yes, it's a check mark. Okay. Does she, and I love when somebody speaks with some, inflection in their voice, and they're passionate about what they're looking for to do. And you can tell if they're hungry or not. You really can. I'm not, what does Barry say? We don't like pompous. We don't like cocky. That's not the word he uses. Arrogance. I'm not looking for arrogance either, right? We're looking for sharp people. We're looking for people that want to make a difference. And then I tell them a little bit about me. And remember, everybody has to have a story. Barry talks about that a lot. You need your own story. So I take 2 or 3 minutes and tell them about, hey, I wasn't looking for the insurance business. I wasn't looking for Equus Financial. This is kind of how it happened. And I tell him I got laid off 400 loan officers, and I give a little bit of a story so he realizes, or she realizes, I'm no different than you. Like, that's how I got started. And then I tell them about Equus. We're an umbrella. We help with insurance, blah, blah, blah. We do kind of what you did about going over that and what we expect. And we expect some of the same things, but you got to be coachable. If you're looking for a cheerleader, I'm not your guy. But if you're looking for a coach, coaches are going to treat you, they're going to teach you right. They're going to make you work. They're going to hold you accountable, but we're going to win together. I'll walk down any road with somebody, but I won't pull you along. And then we'll talk, and then we go right into the income. Why? Here's how we get paid. Hey, Joe, you got a calculator real quick? I'm going to show you how this works. So once we do, then I kind of do the same thing. I'll show them. I'll kind of, I'll show them leads. I'll tell them, hey, we got a lead, blah, blah, blah. And, we knock on the door, and I kind of walk them through. We knock on the door. We get to the kitchen table. We make a connection. We tell them a little bit about some mortgage protection or final expense. We take an application that gets sent up to a carrier, 2 or 3 days. They run a script check. I mean, this is what I tell them. They run a script check. We approve it medically. They draft that first payment. And let's just say it's $90 because that's about the average mortgage protection. Joe, do me a favor, Joe. What's 90 times 12? I make him figure out how he gets paid. And I'll tell you what, now remember that whole 80 to 100 hours. I use that a lot. And they'll say, let me ask you questions. I know you're not a rocket scientist, and nor am I, but making 567 in 97 or 98 minutes, that's a whole lot better than, doing 25 hours at Target, right? And he's like, right, okay, so this is better? Yeah, this is a lot better. Okay, got it. Make sure we're on the same page. And we have a little bit of fun with it. And then I'll let him know, I'll find where his interest level is. And then I'll say, Joe, let me ask you a question. So, just based on what you've heard, if there was an interest level, I hate to use the whole corporate thing, but I'm going to go corporate for about 10 seconds. Is it a 10? Is it a 7? Is it a 6? Is it, I have no clue. Like, give me something, based on what you've heard. He's like, to be honest with you, usually it's about an 8, about a 9. Okay. And then I ask why. Why is it an 8? Okay. And then I want him to tell me what he likes. Okay. Now we do 3 minimum, what we call kind of what you just did for 20 minutes. I kind of call it a screen share, where it's basically just like this. It's not face to face, but I do it on this week it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It's always Saturday at 11. That's a staple in my schedule, John. It's been since way before EBOs happened, and probably within just a couple of months of Equus, I was doing it a Saturday 11 o'clock screen share. And all I'm doing, I'm literally, and that would be for any agent. So that's how we kind of grew. So it was cold market, warm market. Hey, I just got started. I have no clue what I'm doing, but there's a guy a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock tell you all about it. Kind of like what you just did on, Monday night. But they can see my screen. And so for you leaders out there, and again, listen to John, let Brad show you guys how to do all that. But for $10 in a Calendly link, to your computer and with some internet, you can put 50 people on a screen share, and they can see your screen. And we walk through the leaderboard. We show them how they get paid. We show them the training. We show them the lead system. We show them what a lead looks like, kind of what you just did, but they're seeing it live. And then I'd go to the screen and I show them how a new agent gets signed up. This is what, I remember, now I make it personal. So John, if you were sending somebody to me, I would require you to text me at least a few minutes, usually about 10, 15 minutes prior. And, make this up. Mike Hall, Indianapolis, father of 4, looking for part-time. So now guess what happens when and here's his phone number. And sometimes on my notepad, I might have 16 people on my notepad, but guess what happens when I see that number pop up? Hey, is that you, Mike? Yeah, it's me. Oh, hey, Mike Hall, this is Eric Valdez. How are you? I know his name. So, and sometimes roll call is a roll call, but it's personal. Because what were they expecting? They were expecting to listen in the corner where nobody could, but I'm going to make him talk. He's going to hear my voice. I'm going to say, and then I don't ever mention it then, but during that next 45 minutes, if he's a dad and he's the guy that's happened to work every other weekend, I am going to very, very, and I usually check it off. Like I'm mentioning kind of your situation, but I'm solving your problem on the screen share. Because if you talk to me, that's easy. I do it in person.
Right.
But if my call or whoever's sending me people, all my agents or then I gotta make sure. And they're like, okay, you know what? He's right. And we can usually get all the ICA signed. Well, not to me, not direct to me, but literally within 20 minutes. And then here's what I tell them. I'll say, now guys, and so this is at the end of the screen share. Now I have to be completely honest with you. It sounds like most everybody's pretty excited about this, and I think we've shown over this last 45 minutes we can actually solve. That Equus Financial has what you're looking for to solve your problem, and hopefully you're just as interested in the business-driven part of this income, because I do show that as well, John. I have to talk about sales manager as you are the self-driven income. But here's the thing. Here's what I know about most of the people that sent you here. They're probably at the tail end of their interviewing process in the city where you're at, because you kind of came in during that point in time. If your interest is at least a 7 or an 8, I wouldn't suggest waiting a couple of days. I think when you hang up, you need to send a text message to Mike. You need to send a text message to whoever it was that sent you here, and you need to let them know that you're an 8. And you need to probably get started in the course, because you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Because here's the thing. When we hire people, in any area to do this, it's a job you don't quit. Like you find a legal way to make $500 an hour, like that's a pretty good gig. And they all agree, and usually ICAs are coming in before 1:30 that day. And that's how we start off the week, with 5, 6, 7, whatever the number is. So going back to how Cold Market works, what I'm looking for, since some of you are actually using ZipRecruiter, like we had 37 responses. I want to make sure I had some real numbers for you. I had 37 responses today. Okay. And out of those, what's that?
How many ads?
On that one, I do believe 20. I apologize. No, you know what? She only gave me the portion that, okay, I have 2 segments of the country I'm running. So that was just for 10. I was on an airplane, so I didn't get the rest of it. That was for 10. Now, with those 10 ads comes 100 resume searchers, right? Okay, we all know that. Okay, so now this is key. So Ashley, who just works part-time, and before Ashley, so if somebody say, hey, I don't have an assistant, doesn't matter. It doesn't take very long to turn right around and send them out a couple little videos. You can pick up the phone and dial them directly. If they're licensed agents that apply, John, we don't send them anything. We pick up the phone.
Okay.
They've earned that. They're an agent. They've earned the respect. Don't send them an email. Right. Like, come on, Yeah. I'm not going to look at it. You wouldn't look at it, but I get a phone call from an area code I don't recognize. I might pick that up. Or if I call it twice like a lead, that's when I dial a licensed agent, I dial it like a lead. I hit you once, I hit you twice. Now, and so we pick up that phone. If they're not licensed, we send them 2 things about their resume that we liked, right? We make it personal, 2 skill sets, and then the Calendly link. Now, let's say that I'm sorry.
Okay, so non-licensed people, what filters do you have set up prior to them getting your Calendly link?
I have actually looked just for a couple of different skill sets. Doesn't matter what they've done. I want if they've had any kind of call center experience. For some reason, we've been getting that lately. That's just kind of ringing my bell. Sale anything in the sales field. Find a job that has some skill sets with the gift of gab, where they've had to talk to people. If it was a route sale, that kind of stuff, whatever it was. And she'll
But
find.
you're not making them listen. You're not making them look at like a 30-minute video.
No, absolutely not.
Or anything like that?
No. Okay. No.
Okay,
No. So she will send out like the Johnny Brooks, or she'll send out an Antonio Burgess, and it just say, hey, hey Eric, hey Mr. Valdez, it's Ashley Manley from the Valdez Group with powered by Equus Financial. Just want to let you know we got your resume. Thanks for sending that in. I'm kind of ad-libbing a little bit. We really like that. And she'll do two things. What we'd like to do is watch this little video. This is kind of what Equus does. If you're interested in having a 10-minute conversation with Eric Valdez or Kim Valdez, the hiring managers, please click the link below and schedule a time. And we're getting quite, and by the way, we've already gotten, so those 37, want to make sure that so this is literally, so not that you, but right there, there's at least, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomorrow from today. Boom. It's open. And then Kim's got the rest of this week and usually Monday, Tuesday of next week. I have 3 slots on Saturday after the screen share because I'm already here at the office. I'll do a couple too. I think that's important. Okay. We talk about not leaving things to chance. Okay. I was working 9.5 days a week before Equus Financial. If my only interview times were 9 to 5, you would have never interviewed me. I don't have the time to do that. Right. But I can't tell you how many times I've gotten during that 1 o'clock, they'll start off by saying, hey, Eric, I'll be honest with you, man. Can I just tell you, I think it's really neat that you offered a Saturday. Like I work 95 hours a week and I would have never, I saw all those times. I'm like, oh my God, oh, wait a minute, there's a Saturday. Maybe that's the guy. That's my call. That's the John Kite. Because if they're working that much, you're going to solve their problem. Right?
That's
I mean, if we talk about taking the gloves off, so yeah, if I got to take, and you know what? Sometimes all 3 of the slots don't get filled up. And sometimes all of the 3 slots get filled up. And then I get an email from a candidate that says, hey, all of your Saturday slots, can you have room for 1 more? Can you open up next Saturday? Like, I mean, and you know what I do with that guy? I don't open up a slot. I call that guy.
Right.
Like he's begging to interview with somebody.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So out of the cold market, the initial touch.
Yes.
Okay, initial touch with the Johnny Brooks video and the Calendly link.
Yep.
Of those people that are scheduling themselves, and Jimmy Pyron, if I don't get this question right, let me know. But out of the ones that are setting up their interview times, like on average, how many of them no-show you?
20%.
Okay.
20%. But remember, the Calendly link not only sends you a reminder, it also sends them a reminder.
Okay. And
Jimmy, not that much. It's not that much, and we got half-hour slots. I've threatened to do 15-minute slots because of a little bit of no-show, but I'm a gabber. I'm not going to do it. I need 30 minutes. Why? Because I might listen to them a little bit more. If they have some great experience, John, I might start talking a little bit more about the business driven part. Sometimes, especially if I have a gap, okay, I'm going to give people sometimes you're dialing, and okay, I need to make some suggestions here. This is real important for those of you that are running business, and you should be. When I first started doing Calendly from that November through probably a good next 6-8 months of the next year into 2018, I would, as soon as I got done dialing on Saturday, this is key to making sure you maintain your cash flow glow. At 11 o'clock when that screen share was over, after I dialed from 8:45 to about 10:45, then I would open up Calendly in between my appointments because I was still running 10, 12 appointments, John, at that point in time. If I had a gap, I would put in some slots in between my appointments. And I was able to interview 4 or 5 people between Monday, Tuesday. Remember, because most people are doing this by themselves. We have to acknowledge, okay, they don't have my wife and they don't have an Ashley. So they have to do this. So Eric, how can I possibly do this and still maintain $5,000-$6,000 a week of premium or 4 or 5 apps? Okay, here's how you do it. As soon as you're done if you're dialing Monday, then Monday night, open up your Calendly. Open up your Calendly. And if you dial on Thursday, Friday for the weekends, then open it up as soon as you're done for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. You've got to, we talked about plan early and planning often. That's what you have to do when you're doing this by yourself.
Okay, and you do, so if I'm getting this right, so you do interviews all week, and then on Saturdays, you do your screen share with the people that are interested in taking that next step.
Right. Now I do three screen shares: Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, because I have agents that actually do interviews on the weekends. And I think tomorrow night we've already got 11 people that are coming from Mike Wright. You know, we got Jason Patello, a guy named Mike Jones. He's actually he got a full-time job, and he probably sends more people to me than anybody else. You know, he's a workhorse. He's trying to get out of his job, so he's trying to create some income for himself on D leads, and he's sending all kinds. And I'm doing a screen share. Okay, so Tuesday night tomorrow is at 7:30, but Thursday I have an EBO.
Okay.
So I do it at 5. Okay, and I do it from 5 to 6. I do training from 6 to 6:45. Now, if I don't have an EBO, then I'll do it at that 7 o'clock mark. And then Saturday, I offer it at 11 o'clock. And then if I'm not running, and every one of my sales managers and every one of my agents know, and I remind them every single Monday on our call, that if you get somebody that's hot, meaning we don't want to wait 2 days on this person, then I will do an impromptu screen share, a one-on-one, and that's not a problem. I will definitely do that.
Okay, and the things that you're covering on the screen share is you're further covering the Equus opportunity, making Equus kind of come to life, showing in the website.
That's in fact, I'll be very transparent on this. Do you remember in 2016 when Equus put out the old the 37 slides, and it went through the market and the 814 billion and the whole 9 yards, our market, and then okay. So I still cover the first 4 slides.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it's a cookie cutter thing. I can do it in my sleep. I basically say, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about Equus, who we are, and what we stand for and who we serve. That's my opening line. Okay. And it isn't the client. We serve you, the agent, but you'll see how the client gets served.
Right.
And I talk about those first 4 slides. I say, this is the market. It's an $814 billion market. In 2015, I cover I cover the lead system, and I go right to when I say lead system, we mail leads. This is what it looks like. We don't mention cost. Let me tell you why. This is a lead. This is a builder's call. I'm not going to throw out a 61-year-old, a strong foundation for 20 years, and tell him the price of $267 and then build the value in the living benefits. We don't do that in the house. Why would I do that now on the screen share?
Right.
We say this is what, and they go, oh, that's great. Now I go to the leaderboard and I find somebody who's writing 7 apps for 7,000. Do something realistic. Don't go Brandon. Don't do that. Normal. 7 apps, 4 apps for 6,400, and explain to them how they're paid. Don't hesitate to show them somebody doing 12 apps for 18,000. And I go week to date, month to date, year to date. This is the first 3 months of the year. And then I take that number, divide it by 3, divide it by 4, divide it by a week. And they go, okay, wow, that's now. How do these people get in front of these people? Oh, let's go to the lead system. Now I can take somebody who made $8,000 in premium, put $4,700 in their pocket, and they spent $600 to get it. And they're like, I'll do that every week. But you have to build value. When value exceeds price, people buy. We know that in the house, no different with agents. And then we how do these people learn how to do all this? Oh, let's go to the training center. And I literally, you know what I do? You've never done this before, have you, Joe? No, I haven't. Well, you know what? When you get started, you see this little button says guided startup, and I click it. And I don't ever show them videos, but I say, here's the thing, like, you can't mess this up. Oh, you can, but you're going to play really hard. You know, you're going to try to, but you can't if you follow the system. And then we're basically done. Like, it's real quick. It's 30 minutes. But these are the extra effort things that you talked about it, you know. So how can, and that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's got to go out there, but, you know, I will tell you, if you're in your office or in your home and you're talking to somebody on ZipRecruiter and they're sitting in front of a computer, don't have a 10-minute conversation and then kick them out 2 days. Get them on the computer right now.
Right.
Like, you'll ICA them right now. Say, hey, you sit in front of a computer like an iPad?
Right.
I sure am. You know what? Let me do this real quick. I'm going to send you a link real quick. Can you click on that? Oh yeah, real quick, hold on. And do it right then. I mean, that's what's doing this. I'm just not that good on the phone, John. But when you let Equus, you know what Barry told me in December of 2015, before he had that conference call in January, he said, Eric, you know, if you decide to come to Equus Financial, I hope you use Equus for everything we can do, you know, to help you grow your business. Well, to me, that website, because and especially with licensed agents, I can't tell you how many times you take a licensed agent and they go, how much do you pay for this? Well, let me ask you a question. How much would you pay for it? Oh my gosh.
Right.
I'm like, no, we don't pay for it. What? Yeah. I mean, I love that part. Licensed agents, it's a shoe-in. And so I want to give you some tips. In addition to the cold market people that are responding to you, let me give you some things that have really been helpful. Those 100 resume searches, in my opinion, I know this, you'll love this. Okay, I know you personally will, so will Cammie, so will Mike Hall. Okay, don't use your resume searches to go find agents. Agents will respond to you from the ad. Use your resume searches for sales managers. Okay, meaning go find some sales managers. You know, you can even, and here, because here's the thing, that's how I found Emmanuel and Chris Toffee, and you hear those guys' names every single week. Like those guys were at another place. They're a small little shop of 3 people, and now they submitted $190,000 of IUL business in 3 months. I mean,
wow.
Who'd have thought? But
Right.
I resume searched on purpose. So if we're really looking for sales managers, people that think, I mean, we want the agent to be a sales manager. But, and when I say waste, I don't want to disrespect, but if you're going to take those 100 resume searches, don't just go looking for insurance. They're all over the place. Go into look for sales managers. They're tired too, right? I was one of them. I was tired. Go find a couple of them. And that's where we're getting people that are already there looking for business driven. They're thinking about it. And I've got 3 people right now that just broke out this last month with their first couple of sales okay, I'll tell you, but he's a guy in Canton, Ohio. I resume searched him. He's a district manager for Verizon, making $80,000 a year. Had his course done in 2 days because he's exhausted.
Let me ask you. So when you're doing, so you're using your resume searches to find the cream out there, the guys putting their resumes out there, but you're gunning for the how do you approach those people? Do you send them an email? What?
Yeah, send them an email and say because here's the thing, guys. If a district manager for Verizon who's making $80,000 salary has got his resume on ZipRecruiter, there's a pretty darn good reason. Like, that's a pretty good income at a pretty good company. Like, I bleed red. I'm a Verizon. I love Verizon. Like, I said, reach out to that guy and send him something and then tell him that I'm going to give him a call. I did call him, but normally I send him a couple videos. I send him the Johnny Brooks. And in fact, that guy I sent Antonio Burgess, because Antonio Burgess works for Verizon. And I even, but that doesn't say that on the video, but that's what I put. Hey, watch this little 2-minute video. It's about a guy who works for Verizon for 21 years and does this part-time. And and he responded in about 25 minutes. But yeah, which is great. We just try to mimic and mirror, right? That's what we want to do. So seek out those sales managers. And if you want, you can make some phone calls. If you guys don't want to waste time doing emails, call that guy. Say, hey, I noticed you had your resume out in Zip. I'd like to ask, how come? Like, it looks like you got a pretty good job. You know, well, let me tell you why we sought you out. We're looking for sales managers as well, business-driven, minded folks. And then you go, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, Joe. I'm going to send you a couple of videos. See, I send them the videos because I want to do a little bit of Nick Theodore, and then Nick likes to talk to people when they're just ready to sign up. And that's fine, because that's kind of his approach. I take a little bit of approach that, you know, I think I do a pretty good job of selling Equus, and I think I do a pretty good job of selling myself. So, and I think I do a pretty good job of finding pain sometimes in people, because I was the guy who was working the 9.5 days a week and missed too many anniversaries and birthdays. So people are out there. I have no problem telling my story. I want to tell it. And when people realize you're just like them. So I do spend a lot of time on the phone, but I tell you what, by the way, and for all those leaders out there right now that are saying, well, Eric, you know, how am I going to do that and run? My wife didn't come into this business until the middle of 2018. So for the first 2.5 years, I did everything by myself, and I was not working 80 hours a week to do it. But I was just like Equus collapses timeframes, you know, to making $14 an hour, making $500 an hour. Your schedule, you have to collapse your timeframes, eliminate white space. You use it wisely, use it properly. I've never missed a date night on Friday night with my wife in all my time at Equus. 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm out. So I don't mind working 4.5 days hard, spend time with my family. I don't work Sundays. I'm at my church. I'm serving my church and my family and my father-in-law who's in a rest home with Alzheimer's. So if I don't work Friday after from 4 to the rest of the night and all day Sunday and the rest of Saturday, it means I'm still getting most everything done between Monday and Thursday. So it can be done if you're working your time right.
Okay, so, and guys, if y'all have any questions, just text me. But Eric, I also want to ask you the question of, because you did a great job talking about how you're recruiting. I think it's phenomenal. When you do get people, how do you get them started? Like, what are some of the key things that you do? Because again, that's been a stumbling block for us. It seems like everybody's got their opinion. How much do you get involved with people? How little do you make them weak? Do they not get started because they're not confident enough? Like, what's the balance in there?
It's a great question. So the first thing, you heard me talk a little bit about it. Like it was on this, like I thought you might want to ask about that. Yeah. So I talk about, it's real important that you set the expectation. Like you actually said it. In fact, I wrote it down because that's what I thought of. I'm going to refer back to what you said. You know, they got to be willing to listen, work, produce, and associate. Well, you and I are just using different words. I put down, I have a conversation with them, and I set the expectation that here's what you can expect from me, and here's what I expect from you. And they mirror each other. And so, yes, I am having that conversation. I would tell you again, at this point in time where I'm at in my business, John, I have no problem doing one-on-ones with direct, but I actually, for the rest of my managers, at least once a week, and it's not a set time because we do it based on the new people that are starting. So sometimes it's Wednesday night, sometimes it's a Tuesday night, sometimes it's a Monday night, but we're about 2 weeks out based on who's coming out of class. Remember, plan early, plan often. So we're out at least 2 weeks with these calls, and I'm setting the tone and the behavior and the environment and the expectation with letting them know that and Michael Wright, by the way, the manager. So if Michael Wright is the sales manager, he's required to be on the call. I'm going to say stuff, and then he's going to back me up, and then he's going to talk about being prepared and what that means, and then I'll back him up. So even though he's working for Mike, he knows that Mike and I are working together. So it's one time a week, and it's a call about being a coach, being prepared, the communication that's required for you to be successful, the fact that we need you to be optimistic at all times. Oh, you're going to have days where you just want to jump off a bridge. and I'm going to have to grab your hand at the last minute before you jump. And we have some fun with that. We talk about that. And that you need to be a problem solver. And now, again, they've heard videos, they've been on 11 o'clock calls. And just like you talked about, be willing to associate. One of the first statements that I make is that, if you are going to make the kind of money that we told you you're going to make, if you veer 2 degrees off of what we talk about here tonight, then you can just throw that out the window, because we're not painting pie in the sky numbers. But if you don't associate, I'm going to use your words, if you don't associate with the people at Equus Financial on the 11 o'clock call on Monday and walk those through, and if you don't associate with your team, and you don't associate with me, like I am your coach, you have to associate with me, and I'm right on top of you, but you got to associate with me. So we set the expectation first, then we do the goals. So the expectation, goals are, what is my money? Why am I here? Remind them again, those 2 questions. Why are you here, Joe? And let's remember what we're trying to solve. So it's April. Now, by the way, it's April 1st today. We had this conversation last week. So Joe, it's the 25th of the month. April's going to be your first month out in the field, and you will be out in the field your first week. But I need to know, give me a number so that I can work backwards, and I'm going to show you how to accomplish this. And then I take out the appointment to profit sheet. Do you have that? I think you do have that, John. The appointment to profit sheet. Okay. So we do it together. Hey, Joe, bring that up on your computer right now. We're going to walk through this. I need to make $1,000 a week part-time. I need to issue pay 2 apps a week. Okay, perfect. Now, starting off, and this is where you got to be completely transparent, Joe. You got to tell me where you're at. What's your budget? $50 a week, $250 a week, $150 a week. You tell me. And by the way, you don't get to buy A-Leads. So don't even go there. See, so we build that backwards. So it's a little bit extra time, but John, I want to say something, and it's not a boastful statement, but I want to say something. If there's too much I do not, nor will I ever throw mud up against the wall. I can't do it. I can't just throw these agents out there, because I wouldn't want you to throw me out there. Give me a little bit of time,
right?
A little bit of your time. So here's what I do. And by the way, 30% of people that pass the people ICA get started with the Valdez Group. And yes, so it's a little bit. So I'm not growing as fast as some of you guys, but I'm not losing them either. I mean, I've lost some. Trust me, I'm losing some for sure. But they are slow losing. They all get started. They're not getting in my car. I haven't had anybody in my car in probably 8-9 months, but I will get them with somebody. And so sometimes I will subsidize some different things for that agent that's helping out to do that. And I only put them with somebody that does it the right way. Okay. So set the expectation. So to get a little bit of some note taken here, set the expectation, and then we solve their problem with this appointment to profit sheet of how many leads they need, how many appointments they need, how many apps they need, and then we help them. Guys, we can't expect them, and we have a great system, but Bill Martin he's the greatest dialer. Pete Beckman's doing a great job, but they're not telling them necessarily when to dial for the days that they're willing to run based on their full-time job and their availability. That's our job. That's our job to build that schedule. And it does, guys, this takes 15 minutes. This takes 15 minutes, 30 maximum. But look at what it takes to get somebody to the point to where they're like, okay, I got my pen, my gas card, my gas tank's full, I'm ready to go. I've got my Equus shirt. Like, how long does it take to get them to that point? So if we just throw them to the wolves a little bit too quickly,
right,
and then they go MIA on us. So expectation, and by the way, during what we're talking about on this call, one-on-one or in a group, is we're talking about how they're going to have to stay disciplined to the process, how they're going to have to manage their distractions. And I asked them, so what do you think your distractions are going to be, John? Well, I don't know. I'm sorry. I probably think of 3 of them right now, but I want you to tell me what you think they are. You got 4 kids. Yeah, there's one. That kind of stuff. There'd probably be many nights you're going to be dialing in the car, and I'm going to make you go to the car because you ain't getting any dials done. those kinds of statements. I just had an agent, by the way, I walked in from Orlando, Mark Tate, guy's been with me for 3 years. You know why he's here in the office? Because guess what? He's got kids at home. So it's 8:30 at night. He just finished up a dial session. I thought it was great. And he's like, I know why you're here. He's like, yep, I know why I'm here too. But it won't have a week if he doesn't.
That's great.
So manage your distractions, discipline to the process. We show them how to isolate themselves against slumps. I want, if at all possible, I want new agents running back-to-back days. If they can run part-time and they say, I can run 3 days this week, can you run 3 days in a row? Can you run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night? Yeah, I can do that. I want them doing it back-to-back-to-back. They'll tend to forget less because they're doing it 3 days in a row. And we'll get them some appointments. They're dialing, but we'll make sure they have the appointments.
Hey, let me go back and ask this because I did get this text. So about how, okay, so and I realize you got to be pretty transparent here, but for the Valdez organization, out of your office with just your base shop, about how much money are you investing? Are you using ZipRecruiter?
Yes.
Okay.
20 ads.
20 ads through ZipRecruiter. And do you use any other mediums that you are happy to share with, or just ZipRecruiter?
No, guys, I'll tell you anything. I'm not too far from that equity bonus, so I want everybody doing this. I have no problem sharing. But here's what I do have. I have 5 sales managers that all have Zip too.
Do they have it through you, or do they have their own accounts?
They have their own accounts. Okay. And here's what they do. And they're splitting it. When I say split it, so Michael Wright has his own Zip account for 10, but he has an agent that wanted 5, but I couldn't spend the $250. In fact, Mike actually has 2 accounts. One, he does 5 ads with an agent in Ohio and 5 ads with a guy in Florida. So he's still getting his 10, but now he's got actually 2 other people doing 5. And that's how we're having 15, 16, 17 people on screen share, because they're talking to him for 6 or 7 minutes and getting him to Eric Valdez. Getting him to the screen share. So
so would just you and your 20 ads, about how many ICAs are between you and Kimberly and Ashley, about how many ICAs are you getting on a weekly basis with just you?
10 plus, if not more. Probably about 10 plus.
Okay, now your sales managers that are running 10 ads each, about how many ICAs are they getting on a weekly basis?
They've been doing that for about a month now, probably 6 or 7.
Okay, on a weekly basis.
Oh, on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably more like 3. Let's just say 3 or 4, because they're learning that it's probably 3 or 4. I want to be realistic.
And you're getting out of your office with your 20 ads, you're getting a minimum of 10 a week. Okay. And this is and again, this is a combination of responders to your ads that you're emailing a video, emailing your Calendly link, and also your resume searches. Yeah, and you have to make sure you're updating your ads properly as well, or else you're not gonna get the number of responses. And that's something. Okay. You have to work it. You can't just place them in 10 different cities and leave them for 2 weeks. About every 3 days. Yeah. About how often are you updating your ads in those, or updating every 3 days? About every 3 days. Update every 3 days. Okay. Now, going back to getting people started, one of the things, and you might can speak to this because it does seem like you've got a specific edge, and I love the time that you're investing in them. But it's hard to make the wrong people do the right things, right? Yep. So as awesome as you are, Eric Valdez, and this is where I need you to be really transparent. Okay. As awesome as you are, and as much as you love people, you're not going to let people take advantage of you. And when people don't do the initial things that you ask them to do, I'm sure you're just in a roll-on mode.
I do. Yeah, they have to. I jumped off the plane today. Okay, I got off the plane at 6:30 and had to hustle home. I jumped off the plane and the phone rang from an agent. And this is an agent that just last week we got started. And one of the things that they're required to do with me, because I kind of need to know when somebody is needing my help. So when he got done dialing Saturday, now I was off doing a training meeting in Orlando. But here's what I said to him. So when you're done dialing Saturday, I need you to text me when your appointments are so I know when to be available. Okay, because I'm my own agent concierge line. I know who they're contracted with. I know their weaknesses, where they're at. I love Cody and he'll give them great advice, but I might need to help. I might have them to put me on speakerphone so that I can help them close that sale if I need to, because he's brand new. Well, guess what he didn't do Saturday? He didn't tell me when he had appointments. So guess when I was in an airplane today, guess what? He tried to call me and I wasn't available. But here's what would have happened if he would have. Okay, no problem, man. You know what? I can take your 7 o'clock, which I did, by the way. I can take your 7. That'd have been a conversation I had on Saturday. Hey, I can take your 7, no problem. But hey, man, that 3:30, you're going to get a call from Mike, right? I would have. We salesmen, we're management. We're building our teams. So he would have gotten a call he'd have said, you call Mike or you call Jason Patello, and I delegate that out, because I did the same thing for Jason. I did the same thing for Mike. I did the same thing for all these other people. So I'm the orchestra leader when it comes to, if these are direct agents to me, and by the same token, I will do that. So if Mike would have been traveling as a sales manager, hey, Eric, I can take the 7, but can you take the 4 o'clock? Hey, no problem. So if I get a call on my cell phone from a number, maybe he's not, I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? I can take that call and help his agent in the house. But that's the key, because again, so I think these are the little things of why agents tend to make it a little bit better. Is I don't let an agent go into a house, sit down, and try to guess what they qualify for.
Right.
I can't do it, because guess what? Somebody actually did that to me when I was at my other company, and I almost didn't make it from a financial standpoint because I had too much invested. I almost had to walk away.
Right.
And I can't even imagine what that would be like. So I got that fear in me that, hey, they're no different than me. They can't spell rheumatoid arthritis either. And I need to help them make sure they know how to do. Hey, it's only RH. It's real simple. It's RH. And I just, all right. So I think so those are the little things. It seems a little, so some people I'm sure are listening to this thinking, man, this is really micro, but here's the thing, man. Like, I can tell you that Jason Patello, and I use him as an example almost every single time. If I wouldn't have done these things with Jason, he would not be here today. He would not be an elite producer. He would not be in the top 50. I did the same thing with Michael Wright. And he was my number 1 producer. He just qualified as first month district manager. They did $56,000, man. That's incredible. Only 24 of it was his. The rest of it was his people. Yet he had 12 writing agents, and 7 of them were qualified. So here he is, literally 6 months later, and by the way, he does the same things that I do. You got to call me in the house. Treat those agents how you would want to be treated. How would you want to be dealt with? I know I want to be told straight, like you just said, John. Gloves off, right? Don't sugarcoat it with me. I would rather somebody tell me, Eric, if you don't call me, like, I can't help you. Like, if I don't know when your appointments are, I mean, and then the other thing too. So here's another thing that I do. And I've done this, I think 2 or 3 times just in the last couple of months. I talk to Barry about once every couple of weeks. I was talking to Barry. It was I'll never forget. It was in March. I was talking to Barry on the phone, and I had an agent call me, and I thought he was in a house. I'm pretty sure, but they know if you call my phone and I don't pick up, you are to immediately just text and say, in a house. And I said, Barry, I love you, brother, but I got an agent. He goes, oh, no, that's fine. See, I don't even care if it's Barry Clarkson. Like, that could be, I don't care if it's a $46 sale or $146 sale. I don't care about the number. I care that agent had the opportunity to leave the house with an app, and probably his first one. And then guess what he gets to do in about 4 or 5 days? He gets to say, honey, come here. Honey, look. we're going to get paid tomorrow. Like then they're hooked. But if I don't take that call and there wasn't somebody else to take care of it, because maybe I didn't plan properly, even Barry would be upset at that. Nah, Eric, you should have taken that call. That's a new agent. That's a unique writer. He's way more important than me. You can call me back later. So that's the way, nothing more important than a unique writer. Because, I mean, you can't get to sales manager with one. You need a couple more, right? You can't get to district manager or RM. It's a little bit of an addition mode in the beginning. But, John, if I can tell you, and remember, not a ZipRecruiter ad till 2017. So for all those got some leaders on the, okay, January had 2. You snuck in the back of that Indy meeting. Well, I didn't even know you were there. I had 8. So it took me 8 months to get 8. And then at the end of we had 14. But here, listen to you guys, 14 to 60. Now, I didn't have 60 writing agents at the end of the year, but I had 60 that were unique writers, and we were doing about 20. So literally went from 15 to 60, just a little bit of an addition mode. But here's what it grew in spite of me, because I was trying, just like you're doing, John, I'm replicating myself, okay? Replicating yourself. And so that's how this whole thing works. And then in 2000, I mean, and hey, you know what? I just, there isn't a secret sauce. You know, if I'm trying to think of something about new agents, because that's a good thing to make sure that they understand. I'm looking at my notes because I wrote down some notes over the weekend. I wrote down, be the leader that you would want.
Mm-hmm.
Be the leader that you would want. We have to love, serve, and care the John Gordon way. And if you do, I mean, we all know the book, The Carpenter. If you be that kind of manager, be that kind of, you know, be that guy, and they'll be loyal.
Well, I love it.
We do for you,
man. I love it. I appreciate it so much, man. And thanks so much. Congratulations on Michael and Sherry Wright. And they seem like great people. And I will be with you guys in Orlando. So
fantastic.
I'll see you here in a few weeks. And you know, I just love everything that you taught tonight. I love the duplication that's going on. And man, we love you guys. We're so proud of y'all. And you and Kimberly both. I think it was Kim's birthday, yesterday?
It was. Yeah, so, we embarrassed her a couple times, and she told me I'd be in trouble. I'm like, yeah, it's the kind of trouble I can get away with that. So, but thank you, John. I'll make sure and tell her, and we appreciate you and your Kim and all that you do. I tell you what, it was an honor. I was really taken back when you reached out to me on the call, because I'm the one jumping on your calls most of the time, so to learn.
Well, I love it, dude. I'm going to have you on here more, too, because we got a lot of feedback. The groupies have been blowing up. I love the duplication going on your team.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you, man. Get home and get some rest.
You got it, man. Sure will. Take care, John. All right. Bye-bye.
Bless.